Hello, hi everybody, welcome back to the Lovely OT channel. I am Nancy and this is the Lovely OT channel. Today's video I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to pass your science courses. I get this question a lot, and so today we are going to finally address it, and I'm going to give you guys all the tips and tricks on how I passed all my science courses, so stay tuned. So I know most of the science courses that you guys take are, especially in like the therapy world, is functional anatomy and also neuroscience. Okay, I've also taken other science courses like biology and chemistry and things like that. I give you guys all the tips and tricks on what I did and how I did in order to get an A in neuroscience and a B+ in functional anatomy. Let's start by debunking the S word. Okay, the S word being the steady word. I feel like the word steady has such a bad connotation behind it, and it has a bad rap. Okay, studying has a bad rap, and we just need to get it out of our heads that it's such a bad thing. Okay, as long as you have a technique on how to do it right, it's really not that bad. These tips are meant to help you and be a little bit more confident to take your science courses and to be able to pass them. Number one, the first thing that you need to do, you need to learn how to be organized. Okay, organization is my number one tip, because if you are not organized in your thoughts, if you're not organized in how you're going to tackle it, then you are going to fall behind, you're going to be overwhelmed, and that's how you fail. You don't fail because you're not smart, you fail because you're not organized. Okay, so how do you get organized? Obviously, once you start your courses, everybody gets syllabus, right? We got a syllabus when I was in grad school. When I got my syllabus, what I did with the syllabus was that I wrote down, I got a calendar. I got a small calendar for to go, like a to-go calendar. And I also got a huge calendar that I put in my room. And I wrote down all the due dates for all of my assignments on that calendar, so that whenever I get up in the morning, I will see visually what I have due for that week. Okay, so I went through that whole semester, wrote down every assignment that was due for that semester and every test, when the test was supposed to be taken, and all of that on my calendar. Okay, so that was the first step in being organized. Two, it also allows you to plan ahead of time. So if you know that you have a test coming up in the next 2 months, okay, and one thing too that makes grad school a little bit harder with the science courses, it's not that you're just taking your science courses and that's it, right? You have your science courses and you have your other non-science courses that you also have assignments due for, and you also have to study for. So let's say if you know that you have a neuroscience exam coming up in the next month, and you also have another class exams coming maybe the same month, the same week, maybe sometimes even the same day. What you need to do is, once it's getting a little closer, you need to start studying now, right? You need to plan ahead. Hey, this week of October, I'm going to have 2 exams, 1 science, 1 non-science, and I need to start prepping for that. You don't want to wait till like 2 weeks and realize, oh my God, I have 2 exams coming up in 2 weeks, and then start to panic, and that's going to make you a little bit more stressed, and that's how you fall behind, and that's how you fail. Okay, so plan and be organized. You don't want to, under any circumstances, cram. Okay, no cramming in grad school, no cramming in college, no cramming with your science courses, because when you do this, you increase your stress level. Okay, you become overwhelmed. Okay, and that's how you end up failing. So instead of cramming, what you're going to do is you're going to study little by little ahead of time. Even if you're going over whatever it is that you learned that day in class, even if when you go back home, review the information once again. The more you review it, okay, don't even think about studying. Okay, let's just use the R word, review. The more you review the material, the more your brain picks up the material, and almost like it attach itself to that information, because you're giving that information to your brain over and over and over again. Instead of seeing the material twice or 3 times, you're seeing it like 10 times, okay? The more you feed your brain the same information, the more your brain remembers the information. So review the information every single day versus trying to cramp all that information in your brain in like a week span, okay? That's not going to work, because also remember, it's a lot of information in one class versus when, especially when it's finals week where you have 4 classes that you have to study for. It becomes even harder. So keep that in mind. Review every single day. The next tip that I'm going to give you guys is don't memorize. Try to understand the material. This makes it so much easier to understand things. It makes it so much easier to remember things because you are relating it. You're trying to really break it down into concepts, trying to understand it, trying to relate it to things. And that makes the retention even higher for you. Ways that you can do that is also to relate it to your own body. So if you're studying functional anatomy, for example, you can study it on your own body, meaning your hands, right? The bones, right? The muscles in the hands. Like relate it to your own body. Use your own body as a study tool. It's crazy because I feel like we spend so much time with ourselves, with our bodies, yet we don't even know what different bones and different muscles or different parts of our body is called in the different systems and how they work. So take this as an opportunity for you to learn about your body, how it functions, what it's made up of on the inside, and it will be a lot more fun when you think about it that way than to think about it in like such a dreadful thing for you to study for. Okay, so think about it in those type of ways. Okay, another way to do this is also to use mnemonics. I feel like mnemonics was one of those things that I loved to use when I was in grad school because it allowed me to remember so many things, even till now. Remember so many things that I probably would not remember if I didn't have mnemonics to help me out. If I wanted to remember hippocampus, for example, what I did was I related campus to studying, like campus to like school. In school, you need your memory, you need good memory, and hippocampus is like the memory center of your brain. So that's how I remember that. So things like that, that's how you use mnemonics to relate it to things and things that will make sense, you know, so that you can remember. So whenever I see hippocampus, the hippocampus part of your brain, I know that it has to do with memory. The next tip is tactile memory. So this is something that I have always used, even back in high school, to help me remember information. So tactile memory is basically like whenever you write things down, right? So use a lot of your time to write things down, to draw things out, especially in neuro class. I used to draw a lot and color things in. I used to write things for myself. So for example, if you're writing your notes, it helps. I know a lot of classes now have like PowerPoints that you can print out and things like that, but still write certain things down, take your own notes, because the more you write, the more you create tactile memory in your hands. I know it's crazy, but it works. So write things down as much as you can. Get a notebook, like a special studying notebook, and test yourself. I used to do this too all the time. I'll ask myself a question and then I'll write it down what I think is going to, even if I know that the test may not be an open-ended test, like things that I have to write down, I still wrote things down because that allowed me to remember even more. Also, when you rewrite things down, another thing that's really good to do is to reword things down and break things down to your own level of understanding. This also helps a lot to remember things and to also understand things. So I know like they have websites for like little kids, for example. So like little kids website to learn like about the human body, like human anatomy, neuroscience, and all these different subjects, but it's tailored to kids. I used to go on that website and I used to read those things because what they have done with those websites is that they have broken down the really complex information into very simple terms for you to easily understand it. And so if you're having a really difficult time with whatever subject that you're studying, go on those little kids websites and read about that subject. I'm telling you, it works like magic. It's like your brain really grasps that information, and then once you get it, then you can build on into more complex things. Labeling, I used to do a lot of labeling. So I will print out like what do you call it, like a structure, like a body, or whatever part that whatever it is that I'm studying. I'll print something off online without no labels, and I'll label it myself. So that also creates a lot of retention, a lot of understanding, a lot of memory, tactile memory. And so yes, you can use that as well. Next tip is teaching. I love this tip because whenever you teach someone anything, it increases your understanding of whatever it is that you're teaching. It works. I'm telling you guys, it works. So any opportunity that you get, try to teach other people whatever it is that you're learning, right? So first you have to study it, understand it. Even you don't have to be an expert in it. Just study it to a general understanding, right? Get a general understanding of the concept and then try to teach it back to someone. So the teach back method is what it is. So the more you teach back to other people, the more you increase understanding of whatever it is that you're teaching to other people. And it always works. So take the most complex thing that you don't understand and try to teach back to somebody else, and you will never ever forget it. And also, it's okay if you get certain things wrong. Like, let's say you're teaching back whatever to somebody else, or you're writing certain things down, you're quizzing yourself, you're testing yourself, and you get it wrong. I find that when I did get things wrong while I was studying, it made me so mad to the point that I never got it wrong again. Like on the test, those things that I got wrong while I was studying was the ones that I made sure I got right, because I was so upset about getting them wrong while I was studying that for some reason there's something in your brain that's like, okay, we're never going to get that wrong again, and you never do. So it's okay if you get things wrong. Quiz yourself, test yourself, and then don't cheat yourself, by the way, because if you cheat yourself, you are cheating nobody but yourself. So be honest with yourself and test yourself, quiz yourself, label things, teach back on other people, teach back with other people. And yeah, don't take it so serious, because when you do, you will stress yourself and you will overwhelm yourself and you end up falling behind, and you don't want that, okay? Another tip is definitely visual cues. Use as much visual cues as you possibly can. So visual cues with labeling things, visual cues with going to lab and actually seeing the brain and the spinal cord, seeing the body and the nerves, seeing all those different things, the muscles, the nerves, you know, the veins, like seeing all those things increase your retention, because your eye memory, visual memory, is also picking up the information. And so use all your senses, your tactile, your vision, your auditory, okay, smell. And I have another video where I go into depth about the different senses and how your senses can help you with your memory and with passing your courses and with studying in general. So I'm going to link that video down below, because that's a really good video, and I go into depth about the different sensories, okay? So check that out. As always, please make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, lovely with 2 Y's _OT on Instagram. And also the last tip, make sure that you always have your favorite quote or motivational speaker, whatever, something, anything that motivate you. Make sure that you have it around you when you're studying. I find that that also really helps to boost your confidence and allow you to just be focused and to not give up. So yeah, make sure you don't fall behind, and make sure that you are following all these tips and tricks that I'm giving you guys, and I promise you, you will be just peachy. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.